If you have ever seen a mushroom in a cartoon, a video game, a Christmas ornament, a fairy tale, a medieval manuscript, or the emoji keyboard on your phone, you have seen this fungus. You just did not know it was real. The fly agaric Amanita muscaria is the most visually recognized organism on Earth that most people assume somebody made up. Red cap, white spots, grows in forests across the entire northern hemisphere, and it has been chemically rearranging the inside of human skulls for at least 3,000 years. The fly agaric is a large, conspicuous mushroom that emerges from the forest floor wrapped in a white membrane called the universal veil. As the cap expands, the veil tears apart, leaving those white flecks scattered across the red surface. So the polka dots are not decorative, they are remnants of a biological wrapper. Like opening a present, except the present contains two neuroactive compounds and a complicated relationship with spruce trees. It grows in boreal and temperate forests across Europe, Asia, and North America, forming ectomycorrhizal partnerships with birches, pines, and spruces. Translation, its underground threads, the mycelium, wrap around tree roots and swap nutrients. The fungus gets sugar from the tree. The tree gets water and minerals from the fungus. Both sides benefit. Neither side signed a contract. It is the oldest co-op in the forest, and it runs on chemistry, not paperwork. Also, it is technically poisonous. The cap contains mucimol, which is a GABA-A receptor agonist, which sounds like a Wi-Fi protocol, and ibotenic acid, which is an NMDA agonist, which sounds like a Wi-Fi protocol from the future. The first one sedates you. The second one is neurotoxic. The combination in the wrong dose is genuinely dangerous. In the right dose administered by someone who knew what they were doing, it was something else entirely. The fly agaric is not food, it is not timber, it is not medicine in any modern pharmacological sense. What it provides is stranger and, depending on your framework, more important. What ecologists call a cultural service is one of four categories of ecosystem services. Cultural services are the non-material returns: spiritual significance, recreational value, aesthetic weight, educational use, sense of place, the stuff that does not show up on a balance sheet but absolutely shows up in the shape of a civilization. And the fly agaric has been providing cultural services for roughly 3,000 years, which is longer than most of the civilizations it shaped. In 1968, the ethnobotanist R. Gordon Wasson published a hypothesis that the mysterious soma of the Rig Veda, one of the oldest and most sacred texts in Hindu tradition, was a preparation of Amanita muscaria. The Rig Veda describes soma as a plant pressed for its juice, consumed during religious ceremonies capable of producing visions and euphoria. Wasson's identification remains debated, but the pharmacology fits, the geography fits, and no competing candidate has held up better in 60 years of argument. In Siberia, the evidence is less contested. Indigenous Sami and Koryak peoples consumed the fly agaric directly in shamanic ritual, and here's where it gets structurally weird. Reindeer eat the mushroom, metabolize out much of the dangerous ibotenic acid, and excrete the mucimol in their urine. The herders drank the urine, and yes, I can see that our illustration department has drawn a spotted fallow deer instead of a reindeer. For the record, Rangifer tarandus has a uniform gray-brown coat and palmate antlers like a small moose, not the polka dot fawn situation you're looking at right now. The reindeer were functionally a biological filter. This is not folklore. This is documented ethnopharmacology. Then there's the visual chain. The fly agaric appears in Alice in Wonderland. It appears in the Mario franchise, where it literally makes the protagonist grow. It appears on Christmas cards, garden ornaments, children's book illustrations, and the Unicode emoji set. One hypothesis, popularized but not proven, links the red and white mushroom to Santa Claus imagery via Siberian shamanic practice. Whether or not that specific chain holds up, the broader cultural footprint is undeniable. 3,000 years of human storytelling have a red mushroom with white spots sitting quietly in the background. Cultural services are the category that gets dismissed first. They do not feed anyone. They do not regulate floods. They do not cycle nitrogen. When budgets tighten, the response is always the spiritual stuff can wait. The problem with that logic is that cultural services are what make people care about the other three categories in the first place. Nobody funds pollinator research because they read the provisioning service spreadsheet. They fund it because someone somewhere told a story about bees that made them pay attention. Cultural weight drives political will drives conservation budgets drive everything else. The fly agaric is not endangered, it is widespread. The threat is not to the fungus, the threat is to the framework that recognizes what it does. The Millennium Ecosystem Assessment, the UN's landmark 2005 evaluation, found that cultural ecosystem services were the least studied, least quantified, and least funded of all four categories, not because they were least important, because they were hardest to put a number on, and policy systems that cannot put a number on something tend to treat it as if it does not exist. That is not a failure of the mushroom. That is a failure of the spreadsheet, a single fungus embedded in 3,000 years of ritual, possibly the source of one of the oldest psychoactive religious traditions on Earth, and quietly also running nutrient logistics for the boreal forest. The cultural category is not the soft one. It is the one that makes all the others legible. Thanks for watching. If this is the kind of thing you want showing up in your feed, the subscribe button is right there. I will be back with another species that is doing more work than you thought. See you next time.